Jimmy Kimmel, he's very mad at me, and I know you're close to him.
I've heard
I hope you tell him that, I'm sorry that, they got bent out of shape. I don't think I did anything wrong. We can have disagreements.
I agree.
I mean, you and I don't agree on everything. Look at this clash now. And yet we're cool. Sometimes I am a little brash about me when they compare me with the other late night guys. And I'm like, I'm not like you guys. I'm not. You could all exchange your monologues, all of you, and no one would know the difference in tone. Okay?
Tone, yeah.
Whereas me, I'm not there. I'm not
agree.
in on your. I don't just buy into the left wing bullshit, and I never stop making fun of the right wing.
Bill Maher has unleashed scorching shots at Jimmy Kimmel and the nation's political comedy hosts, and the internet is ablaze. Maher, once tight with Kimmel, revealed how their friendship crumbled because he refused to follow Kimmel's path. He didn't hold back, throwing sharp jabs at late-night hosts for their glaring double standards. Trust me, it was explosive. So if you crave hot political takes, hit that subscribe button and let's dive right in.
Bugs me so much. My tribe is supposed to be the left, but these are the people who just can't talk to you unless you're exactly there. Whereas the Republicans, they always fucking come to my show. John Kennedy from Louisiana was on last week.
Yes,
took his beating like a man, like they all do. And we came across lovingly and smilingly and happily, and we can disagree.
I agree.
You and I aren't always completely on the same page, although we're very close because we're both smart guys. But, I just don't get...
Maher didn't hold back when he expressed his frustration with his own side. According to him, too many people on the left have shut themselves off from anyone who doesn't share their exact opinions. They stay locked in their bubbles. Echo chambers where the same woke talking points are endlessly recycled and repeated without question. It's comfortable for them, but it also makes them fragile. Once they step outside that bubble and face a challenge, someone who questions their assumptions or pushes back, they often have no sound argument to defend their position. Maher sees this as a major problem because it kills honest debate and undermines credibility. He's frustrated not just because of the lack of engagement, but because it hurts the causes they claim to care about. For Maher, the inability to handle differing opinions isn't just annoying, it's dangerous for meaningful political discourse.
Shit at all.
Right.
And, if that's not good enough for you, then I think you're the asshole. And I don't think Jimmy is an asshole.
No,
I think he's a great guy. And it bugs me that, because of what the latest thing was, that, we may never talk.
You guys should be thick as thieves and on the same page. And I'll tell you something interesting, talking about left and talking about right.
Even as Maher throws some subtle punches at Jimmy Kimmel, he's still trying to extend an olive branch. He wants to make it clear that disagreement doesn't have to mean hostility. And honestly, he's right. We can't all have the same feelings, thoughts, policies, politics, or ideologies. Diversity of opinion is natural, even necessary in a functioning society. Yet, too often people act as if any dissent makes someone the enemy. Maher calls this out, pointing out that such thinking is neither smart nor productive. Differences of opinion should spark conversation, debate, and even challenge, but never personal attacks or the erasure of someone else's perspective. For Maher, this is not just about his feud with Kimmel. It's about a broader lesson in tolerance and intellectual honesty. Respectful disagreement is a sign of maturity, not weakness, and anyone who thinks otherwise is missing the point entirely.
Stamp. I mean,
well, maybe
you can't tell me that Congress...
I don't mean Congress. I mean, amongst the tastemakers, your sort of Tucker Carlsons, your Candace Owens, your Ben Shapiro's.
You're right. They're all over the map.
They're all battling.
They're fighting each other.
Right. And on the left, everyone's sort of lockstep in terms of the tastemakers.
Right. Ben Shapiro, Yarmulke.
Right.
Tucker Carlson, Hitler.
Right.
Not so bad.
Right. So
what the fuck?
But all I'm saying is whether you agree or disagree...
Let's be clear, I wouldn't say they're outright fighting, but they are openly disagreeing with each other, and that's the very essence of democracy. Debate, friction, clashing viewpoints. That's how ideas are tested and refined. Now ask yourself, can we honestly say the same about the left? Not really. The truth is, many on the left don't even agree with the far left. but they're too afraid to say it out loud. So instead of pushing back, they nod along, quietly, reluctantly, afraid of backlash or cast out of their own tribe. That's not unity, that's fear. And fear kills honest conversation. When disagreement becomes taboo, democracy suffocates. Maher's point cuts right through the noise. A movement that can't tolerate internal disagreement is fragile, and pretending otherwise makes it dishonest.
Wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha. Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us." No one had to. You silenced yourself.
Now, this all came to a head when Jimmy Kimmel was suspended for a few days over comments he made on his show. I won't rehash the details. We all know exactly what happened. This is where Maher's criticism really sharpens. He points a finger at the hosts of The View for their silence when Kimmel was effectively canceled. These are the same people who claim to champion free speech, empathy, and fairness, right up until one of their own becomes inconvenient. According to Maher, their refusal to speak up wasn't accidental. It looked intentional. Staying quiet was safer than risking backlash from online outrage. Maher sees that silence as pure hypocrisy. If you only defend free expression when it's politically convenient, then you don't actually believe in it at all. You're just playing to the crowd. And that, Maher argues, is exactly what's gone wrong with daytime political commentary.
Continued, did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel? No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. Five days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point.
Just like Kimmel, the ladies on The View proudly wear the woke label, but their outrage is selective. They're loud, animated, and relentless when an issue targets the right. Every misstep becomes a moral crisis. Every comment a national emergency. But when the same standards should apply to the left, suddenly it's radio silence. No panels, no lectures, no impassioned speeches about accountability. Maher calls this out as blatant hypocrisy. If your principles only activate when it's politically convenient, then they aren't principles at all, they're performance. The silence isn't accidental, it's strategic. Speaking up would mean turning that moral spotlight inward, and that's something they refuse to do. Instead, they protect their own close ranks and wait for the storm to pass. Maher's frustration is simple. You can't claim the moral high ground while refusing to apply your values evenly. That's virtue signaling over.
It's just, it's just an upbeat party show. That's why they hired people named Joy and Sunny and Whoopi. Girls, let me go out strong, okay? It won't kill you. I promise. It's happened to me, and I may go out after this show. We don't know. We don't know. And, Jimmy, look, I don't think what he said was exactly right. I don't. We don't agree on that. He didn't lose his job.
Even in this clip, Maher is clearly defending Kimmel, and that alone shows the level of respect he still has for him. This isn't personal animosity, it's principle. Maher isn't trying to tear Kimmel down, he's trying to draw a line. The real issue is that Maher refuses to join in on the woke theatrics that now dominate late-night comedy. Kimmel and his crew have turned constant Trump and MAGA bashing into a ritual, almost a requirement, and Maher wants no part of it. Not because he agrees with Trump, but because he refuses to turn comedy into partisan propaganda. Maher believes satire should punch in all directions, not just where it's socially rewarded. That refusal is what separates him from the pack, and what makes others uncomfortable. In today's media climate, neutrality or balance isn't seen as independence. It's treated like betrayal, and Maher simply won't play along.
Aaron, to try to say that these nuts who do these things are any team. Jimmy's wrong, I think, to put him in one team. But, look at what this guy is doing. I mean, Jimmy has every right to be wrong, but look at this guy. He was doing porn video games with furries. He was on a game called Furry Shades of Gay 3. This kid is in his basement with VR goggles on, getting virtually ass-fucked by a cartoon wombat? And you're going to put politics into this?
And this is probably where Kimmel and Maher started to drift apart. Maher didn't hold back in calling Kimmel out for politicizing everything. He made it clear he thought Kimmel was wrong. And he wasn't the only one. Over the years, we've seen a growing number of late-night hosts turn their shows into political battlegrounds, using comedy as a weapon rather than entertainment. The charm and escapism that once defined late-night programming, the laughs, the sketches, the clever interviews, have largely disappeared. Instead, we now get constant political commentary, opinionated monologues, and a predictable partisan lens on every topic. Maher laments this shift because it's killing the essence of the genre. Late night used to be a place to wind down, to enjoy a good laugh at the absurdities of life, not a daily lecture on ideology. That's why Maher doesn't just critique Kimmel, he critiques the entire trend overtaking late night comedy.
And finally, new rule, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious. Now, I mentioned this karma stuff on the show last week because I was relating how many texts and emails I got from people congratulating me on receiving a karmagram from the universe in the form of Whoopi Goldberg's chastisement.
Maher wasn't happy when Whoopi Goldberg was yanked off the air for comments many labeled inappropriate. Whatever she said, Maher's stance was consistent. She had the right to say it without losing her job over it. That's classic Maher. He believes in free expression even when he disagrees with the content. To him, punishment for speech, especially in comedy or commentary, sets a dangerous precedent. Criticizing someone's words is fair game. Silencing them isn't. And that's the nuance people often miss. When Maher calls someone out, it doesn't mean he hates them. Disagreement isn't a declaration of war, so when he critiques Kimmel, it's not personal animosity, it's philosophical divergence. They can still respect each other, they can still be friends. Adults are capable of that. They can clash on politics, tone, or approach and still share mutual regard. For Maher, that's the whole point. You don't cancel friends, you debate them.
Goldberg shouldn't have to conform to or apologize for her views on race, as much as I disagree with them. And she certainly shouldn't have to sit out like a child and think about what she did. The View suspending someone for sharing a view is like firing Pat Sajak for selling a vowel.
America is a democratic nation, one that has long been viewed as a pillar of democracy around the world. Central to that identity is the protection of free speech, even when that speech is controversial, uncomfortable, or unpopular. We can't afford to start canceling people simply for sharing an opinion. Disagreement is not a crime. An offense is not the same as harm. As I've always said, we already have robust systems in place to address speech that truly crosses legal lines. Courts, workplace policies, public debate, and accountability mechanisms. Those systems exist for a reason, and they should be allowed to function without mob pressure replacing due process. When cancellation becomes the default response, we weaken the very democratic principles we claim to defend. No one should lose their livelihood or reputation merely for expressing a viewpoint. Debate it, challenge it, counter it. Don't silence it. That's not democracy, that's fear masquerading as virtue.